Hello and welcome back. I'm Shelf Unit and this is my continuing Let's Play of Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition. So, last time we successfully completed our mission. I want to find out where I buy healing kits. Human Transient. Let's talk to them quickly. The gibbering transient wheels to face you. Eyes bulging out of his skull. He's a young man, probably in his late 30s, but his hair has gone bone white. He reaches towards you with hands hooked at his claws and his entire body begins to tremble. You've seen them, I know it, I can smell it on you. He reaches his hands to his face and claws at his cheeks, his fingernails digging into his flesh. The devils, the ones that are coming, the runt that leads the pack. Another transient glances over at you. He got into town yesterday, came in on the boat, same boat we did. Seemed normal enough at the time, but now he's stark raving mad. I'm not mad! His voice rises into a scream. I've seen them, they're coming, they're on their way here now! Tell me what you've seen. His breath comes in fits and gasps. He claws at his throat and his voice lowers to a whisper. There are hundreds, all different, but all the same. A giant with the legs of a boar and the jaws of a baboon. A woman in jade and gold with 100 blind eyes. A runt at the head of the pack, slim and beautiful, with arms like jaws and an ivory crown. Tears spill down his cheeks as he sobs piteously. They run in rivulets into the gashes that he tore in his cheeks. They're all coming, all clawing at the gate. She is already slipping through. He seizes up mid-sentence. His eyes roll back into his head and he falls to the pavement. When he hits the ground, he doesn't get up. He isn't breathing. I think he's dead. You kneel and press your fingers to the fallen man's neck. Nothing. Transient stares down at the fallen man's body, her brow furrowed. To hell with this place, I'm getting out of here. I know that it's none of my business, but you should do the same. Not me. Business to attend to. No, your call. Best of luck. Okay, let's... Can we get healing from you? Welcome back. You decided you need something after all. You're a monk and a weapons dealer? Shen slowly raises an eyebrow, arms forwards. Yeah. Where else in the world would ancient masters have gotten their legendary swords and spears? Down at the mall? I was at Wudang Mountain for 15 years before coming back to Hong Kong. I've been practicing Xing Yi Quan my entire life. That's how I learned the herbs, as well as the forms. It just so happens I'm good in a forge too. Why what you buy here is better than most other people's. What's Xing Yi Quan? Shen strikes a sudden pose, body low, one fist against a hip whilst the other is extended in an open palm. The 5-element fist style. Water grows wood. Wood burns to become fire. Fire creates ash and earth, which condenses into metal, etc. It forms a cycle of the 5 elements. The opposing elements block each other. A water fist will break a wooden defense, but a water block will extinguish fire. Should one use a water interception on a metal fist, however, water will be smashed apart. Direct, simple, powerful. Not so elegant as Bajic gun or Tai Chi, but much more powerful. She pulls a tarp away from a nearby lump. The object beneath the tarp is revealed as a door to an Ares City Master armoured personnel carrier. It's been caved inwards by a massive amount of force, and in the dead centre of the door is an indent directly into which Shen's fist would fit perfectly. Power comes from focus, and focus comes from practice and meditation. Xing Yi Quan produces more power than most other forms of Kung Fu, and applies it in a highly focused way. I get the picture. Let's talk about something else. Let's take a look at wares. Keep casting. No. Outfits. Good armor. Damage 5. No. Exit. And that's all for now. So we cannot buy healing there. Let's talk to these guys again. Jin frowns. Look who's back. Why don't you go egg a car or something and leave us alone? I, for one, enjoy range visits. The hint of a smile touches Lao's lips as Jin grumbles to himself. How can we help you? Gotta run. See ya. No. Not interested. We will go back to the boat. What's in here? Parlor of 5 phases. I will go to the boat, claim payment, and then go back to the 5 phases, I think. Because I haven't been in there yet, I don't believe. Okay, check the inboxes for new messages. No new messages. In the jobs directory, claim payment for the kidnapping. Boom, boom, boom. Client is pleased with how you handled the situation, and Mr. Lowe has been very contrite and forthcoming, due in no small part to the violence with which you handled the opposition. You've even earned a little extra for taking out the Talon. Your payment is attached. Go back. Shadowlands. Post pay data for sale. Go back. Claim payment for sold pay data. Excellent. Go back. Go back. Walk away. Now we've got a lot of XP to spend here. What shall I spend it on? So we can increase ranged combat. Or I could increase... No, I can do both. I can increase dodge and that. Yeah. Let's confirm both of those. So we've now got dodge of 3, ranged combat, and quickness of 7. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay. Let's talk to people about the previous run, or the next run, last run, whatever it was. What do you think about the last run? Actually, it wasn't bad. It reminded me of doing a little undercover work for the Star. We got to go to a fancy restaurant, do some legwork, blend in, and then take a bad son of a bitch into custody and motor off in a speedboat. He smiles wistfully. Made me feel like a Detective Dick Chapel from the Bounty Hawks. You've watched that old show on the Trid? You can get into it. The model who played Mia Suede couldn't act a way out of a paper bag. He huffs indignantly. That was a choice, sir. If you'd gotten more than a couple of episodes in, you'd have learnt that she was a Banaraku puppet in the beginning, and that her real personality was being suppressed. Man, so many great twists in that show. After this is all over, you should go back and give it a watch. A real watch this time. Anyway, in all seriousness, it went about as well as I could imagine anyone going. We got Talon out of the way, and that's good. Don't need a bad son of a bitch like that coming back after us later. I don't know, sir. It doesn't always feel right taking people out like that, but it definitely feels like the smart thing to do. Talk later. Boom. Okay, let's talk to Isabel. Any thoughts about the last run? Nope, sorry. Jacking into Octopus's house. Alright, fuck you. So she doesn't want to talk at all anymore. Gobbet looks up from a hot plate at the sound of your approach. A smile creases her face. She raises her eyebrows and gestures at the cabin around you. You know, the big Texas has really been shaping up over the past few days. With all the work that we've been putting into her, she's starting to feel like a real home. Anyway, enough about the boat. She puts her hands on her hips, sending madness scurrying. You ready for your next lesson, or did you just want to chat? Any thoughts about the last run? I never had a chance to go to Shangri-La before. Too ritzy for a little street rat like me, and you know what? I'm kind of okay with that. All those stuffed shirts and fancy food are nice, but give me a cheap corner stall any day. I did pocket some of their silverware, though, in their teapot. Talon was a real piece of work. Glad to see that guy put in the ground. He made my skin crawl. Like he was the kind of guy who'd torture animals for fun. Even the 289 seemed a little scared of him. I doubt anyone's going to shed tears over him for too long. So what else do you want to talk about? Ready for my next lesson? Yeah, she smiles. That's good. I was hoping you'd want to keep going with this. It's good for you, and I'm kind of enjoying it, too. Gobbet runs a hand through the knotted ropes of her hair, a contemplative look on her face. A moment later, she turns her attention back to you. All right, this is going to be another long story. So I'm thinking we should take it in chunks. If you've got any questions, you can ask them along the way, and if you need to take a break, we can come back to it. Sound good? Sure, sounds good. Good. So last time I told you about the event that brought an end to my illustrious career as a subcontractor. This time, however, I'm going to tell you about a run that I went on with my regular team. Was this when you started running with Isabel? No, this is long before it hit the streets of we were friends and everything, but she was still learning deck back then. She was good for her age, but she wasn't ready for prime time. You don't know anyone from the group that I'm talking about. They're all gone now anyway. Wait, you lost 3 other teams before you hooked up with me? Yeah, I did. Thanks for rubbing it in. The words are rueful, but the tone is soft. Sorry. Don't worry about it, I'm fine. When you run the shadows, losing people is an occupational hazard. She offers you a lopsided smile. As Shadowrunners, we're disposable assets. It shouldn't come as a surprise when we get used up and tossed away. I was the same way in the barrens. Here today, gone tomorrow. Yeah, you know how it is. People die and it's sad, but there's no sense moping about it. Tell me about the team when you were running with. Sure. She extends a hand so that she can count off teammates on her fingers. Madness scurries down her sleeve and perches on her forearm. Our muscle was a Hawaiian Jew with poor impulse control. Big round guy with lumberjack arms and ringlets in his hair. He called himself Anu. Guess that he loved turtles? I don't know. Street names are weird. We had a tech specialist, Gret. She was tall, gawky, dyed her hair bone white. She had a drone named Arlo that followed around like a lost puppy. She was kind of a jack of all trades, but she could get the job done. Fun at parties too. Our de facto team leader was a guy named Sui. He was a wiry troll, if you can imagine that. Probably about 2% body fat, all skin and bones. Walked with a hunch to make himself look smaller. He was a shaman, followed rat, like me. Can't be any troll rat shamans out there. Not that I meant. But Sui seemed like a really good guy. We got along fine. I actually liked everyone on that team. They were a lot of fun to run with. How'd you come to meet this group of yours? Through mutual friends. We all lived together before we decided to start running as a team. There was this floating squatters commune out in Hong Kong Bay. We'd probably still out there, actually. I haven't been back in a long time. But I spent a few years living on the thing, and the rest of the team lived there with me. You lived on, what, a raft? Yeah, basically, we called it the sinking ship. It wasn't much to look at, just a whole bunch of shipping containers all bolted together in a great big floating brick. It wasn't the most comfortable place I've ever lived, but the price was right and the company was good. I'd hear more about the sinking ship. Let's hold off on that for a little bit, okay? I'd like to go through the rest of the story before we spend any more time on the raft. After your lesson's over, you'll tell you whatever you want to know about the commune. But for now, I'd rather not get sidetracked. Okay, got a grasp on the team dynamic. Let's keep going. She nods. All right, moving on. So, one day, Sui brought us a job. He'd met a client in a Victoria Harbour bar, a rich Eastern Tiger exec. Guy wanted us to steal something for him. A shiny object. She raises her hands. I know, it's stupid, right? But that was how Johnson described it to us, the shiny object. That was what he wanted us to get. He never gave it any other name. Alright, so what did the client tell you about this thing? He gave us a physical description. We were supposed to look for a chunk of red jade about the size and shape of an ostrich egg, with a mirror-polished surface and gold wire inlays. He said it had paper charms hanging off it, food talismans, Taoist sorcery stuff. We weren't supposed to touch those. The client also told us about the shiny object's then owner, an old hedge wizard turned entrepreneur named Kong Jung. Hedge wizard? She nods. He had a whole wise old sage thing going on. He had the robe, the little hat, kind smile. Oh, and the piece de resistance, the long, must-be beard. He was mean as a snake, though. Had a rep to prove it. Intel said the old man's yin was keeping the shiny object in one of his warehouses. He built himself a nice little empire selling magical paraphernalia through puppet vendors in the Yao Ming Tai night market. Supposedly a good fifth of the stalls in that place were on Xing Prewo. What kind of magical paraphernalia are we talking about? She begins counting off examples on her fingers. Pickled reagents in mason jars, hermetic scrolls and charms, relics looted from Buddhist temples, crates of old Balinese Ranga masks, and fist-sized stones from a great dragon's kidney. Zhu Yang sold it all. How he got his hands on the first place, anyone's guess. Get the picture. Good, thought you might. We cased the warehouse for a couple of nights before the run, and we're pretty sure that Zhu Yang was keeping her payday in the vault area at the very back of the building. But the old man had enough triad protection, and we'd have to be sneaky to get there. Sui was the one that came up with the plan. We'd split up outside and out of the warehouse in 2 teams. Team A would create a diversion, Team B would hit the vault while the security was looking the other way. We'd grab a payday, regroup, and get the hell out of there. In my experience, splitting the group is almost always more trouble than it's worth. I agree with you. We were going in expecting a straight fight, but as a Shadowrunner, you should almost never want to get in one of those. When you're on a job, you're always going to be outnumbered and outgunned. Going quiet is inherently safer than going out loud. And if splitting the group is what it takes to do that. Anyway, teammate Hanu and Egret circled around to the loading dock just like we planned. Sui and I waited by the surface entrance. We didn't have to wait long. A couple of minutes in, we heard this ungodly crash, then another and another. Turns out Egret had rigged into Yun's network of automated forklifts. She had 6 of them running amok in the loading dock, chasing down work and crashing themselves into anything marked fragile. Next time we're wrong with the loading dock, remind me about the forklift trick. It's awesome, right? A dreamy smile spreads across her face. Egret really outdid herself. I wish I could have been there to see it. Egret's distraction was what did what it was supposed to. As Sui and I watched, most of the Triad guys at the surface entrance abandoned their posts and went hauling off toward the loading dock. A couple of guys with baseball bats stayed back, but we handled them easy enough. We slipped inside and made a beeline for the back of the warehouse, where the shiny object was supposed to be. Did you find it then? No, let me guess. Something went wrong. No, actually, it was there just like we thought it would be. The door was open and everything. The shiny object was sitting there in a teak cradle, gleaming with reflected light, just like the client had said. It had a ring of soused talismans hanging off it, like a grass skirt and paper all crinkled with age. Didn't waste any time. I reached and grabbed it, the whole thing. Felt strange through my gloves. The jade sort of pulsed as if it had a heartbeat. Sounds ominous. Yeah, tell me about it. I wanted to drop the thing, but it was our payday, so I slipped it into my satchel instead. Couldn't get the flap closed quickly enough. Package being secure, Sui and I turned to hightail it out of there, and then things went to shit. Shiny object do something unpredictable? Nope, not the shiny object. Oh man, Jiang. He was standing there right in front of us, larger than life. I'm guessing when he heard the commotion in the loading dock, he'd come running, well, modeling to make sure his treasure was safe. And it turns out it wasn't, because I'd already stolen the thing. He looked displeased. What'd you do? What do you think we did? He had our backs to a wall. We lit the old bastard up. It's pretty epic, truth be told. Spirits are summoned, spells are discharged, the vault door sealed behind Xiang like something out of a movie. And at one point, the old man leapt onto Sui's back and tried to bite his ear off. I won't bore you with the play-by-play of how the fight went down. In the end, we crushed him. Unfortunately, the fighting had caused some collateral damage. At some point during our showdown with Xiang, the control panel for the vault door must have eaten an arc of lightning or the blast of a power ball. It was toast, all black and melted, and neither of us could fix it. So you were trapped in the vault? Yeah, it's about the size of it. And it was only a matter of time before the old man's remaining security guys found us in there. There was still one way out. Ventilation ducted up to high in the rafters, but it was too small for Sui to fit through. He was a troll after all. I had the shiny object, but if I left Sui there and security got to him, well, you do the math. So here's a conundrum. I got a payday in a satchel, and the team's split, and it's inevitable more Triad 49ers are going to find us. But we don't know how or when or how many. Egret and Hanu are holding their own in the loading dock, for now. I can stay with Sui to help fight the inevitable wave of Triad 49ers, but we'll be badly outmatched, like badly. Odds of survival won't look good for either of us. If Egret were pinned down at the loading dock, she would probably get the vault door open, but in order to get to her, I'd have to leave Sui alone in the vault. If Zuyang's reinforcements find Sui before I get back with Egret, well, she uses a thumb to draw a line across her neck. So that's the scenario, Seattle. Not a lot to work with, I know. Now, tell me, what should I do? Take the gamble and go for Egret. It's the plan with the best chance of success. Could have done that, I guess. Might have worked. Of course, it could have gotten Sui gunned down in a vault too, but in retrospect, that wouldn't have been a huge loss. Anyway, that wasn't what I did. I saw what I thought could be a way to save the day, so I went ahead and took it. I fished the shiny object out of my bag. I still remember how the talismans that ring the thing crinkled in my hands. I remember shrugging, saying, "The hell with it." Put the thing in Sui's bare hands and told him to go nuts. It was almost like Sui had been waiting for me to pass him the thing. He seemed eager to take it. He hugged that chunk of rock to his chest like a newborn baby. Color swam in the stone and something changed in his eyes. Then old man Zian's 49ers breached the door and Sui unleashed hell. She pauses, frowning. Stops scratching fully and uses the hands to rub her eyes. Finally she turns back to you. A sour look pinches her features. What went down in that room? Well, I've only seen that kind of carnage a couple of times in my life, and I've been running the shadows for years. Those Triad men were torn to scraps by the end of it. I don't think I'll ever forget the sounds they made. She clears her throat. I spent most of the fight huddled under the corner for my own safety. Huddled up in the corner for my own safety. What Sui let loose from the stone didn't seem terribly interested in discriminating between friend and foe. What do you mean by that? Did he summon hostile spirits or something? Something like that. Truth be told, I don't know what they were. Like I said, I was hiding, but he couldn't have done it without the shiny object, not in a million years. Whatever they were, the rock brought him there. So what happened then? She shrugs. We waited for things to calm down in the vault and for things to go slithering away. I think that Sui had some limited control over them, which is why they didn't need us. After they were gone, Sui gave me the shiny object back, put it in my satchel, and we bailed. We collected the others on the way out. They were blissfully ignorant of what had happened on the other side of the warehouse, and I didn't see a reason to change that. We hightailed it back to the docks and caught the first boat back to the sinking ship. Mission accomplished. Gobbet looks away again, stares off into space. From what I'm told, people still avoid Zion's warehouse like the plague. It's supposed to be haunted even to this day. People who set foot in the building keep turning up dead. Pretty sure I'm one of the only living people who knows why. Abruptly, her body language changes. Anyway, that's it. Lesson's over. If you've got any questions, go ahead. Was there a point to the story? I'm trying to find a moral here. Yeah, it was when I started telling it. I thought I was going to tell you to be more comfortable breaking the rules. I don't think I'm going to say that now, though. I'm not feeling it anymore. Why not? At least your team made it out of this world alive. They didn't stay that way for long, but let's just leave that for next time, huh? I don't want to get into it just now. Let's take a break and come back to this later. Oh, tell me more about the sinking ship. Yeah, sure. Story's over, so we can get to it. I moved onto the sinking ship when I was just a kid. I think I was 12, maybe 13 years old at the time. In the beginning, it was just me and a couple of rat shaman friends, Cadmus and Malvina. They were older, but they were always cool to me. Is it typical for groups of rat shamans to congregate like that? Not terribly, no. I mean, we have lodges, same as any other group of shamans. You can usually find a few of us hanging out in those. I guess there was just something special about our little group, or maybe about the sinking ship. We liked it. We felt at home there. Didn't hurt the sinking ship was well stocked and provisioned when we found it either. Don't look at me like that. It was abandoned when we took it. Abandoned? There was a team of Shadowrunners that had lived down the thing before us, but they bid it on the job. Cat and Mal heard the knock of opportunity, and they claimed the raft for the rat in record time. Taking over the sinking ship wasn't an easy job, mind you. Previous owners installed traps and automated defenses all over the raft. Cat had his hands full with those for a month. What kind of traps are we talking about? She shrugs. The usual stuff, explosives, pop turrets, that kind of thing. Cat and his sister Yasmin took care of most of it without too much trouble. Biggest problems were the scuttling charges. The runners had built the raft and installed these explosives all along the perimeter that ripped the bottom out of the thing if it were ever seized by the police. The explosives were tricky to deal with. Cat was able to disarm them, but he had to leave them where they were. I was always just slightly uncomfortable knowing that I was sleeping on top of a couple of 100 pounds of dormant explosives. Can't blame you there. She shrugs. Hey, like I said, it was free. There weren't really even any rules to follow, which suited me fine. Malvina was a sort of leader of our little nest, but we never really listened to her. She was always trying to play the mom card and instill a sense of responsibility to us. It was cute. She did have a propensity for getting things done, though. I have to give her that. Anyway, after a few months, other people started showing up. Squatters, homeless people, Shadowrunners, and assorted crazies. As long as they stayed cool with us, we were cool with them. Eventually it became a community. Imagine that. Think you wound up squatting at the Big Texas because of your time on the sinking ship? I don't know, maybe. I've really thought about it before, but yeah, maybe. The corner of her mouth curls upward. I guess I'm a water rat now. Let's take a break and come back to this later. Laters. Hey, Seattle, I'm sorry that this lesson wound up getting a little unfocused at the end. I'm not really sure what came wrong with me. It happens to the best of us. Well, I still feel bad about it, so, look, I'll make you a deal. Your next lesson will definitely be on point, and I'll tell you what up front. No more question and answer sessions. How does that sound? Fine by me, Gobbet. Catch you next time. Next time. Okay. I don't think I need to sleep. I'd like to do another one of these things. Jen, I'm going to quickly go down and talk to the... No, oh, that's what we said I was going to do, isn't it? We're going to go down here. No, maybe we won't. Maybe we have been here before. A quick glance around the shop reveals an unusual level of untidiness. The whole place is covered in books, sprawled across the floor and piled high up top tables, chairs and desks. Shopkeeper peers at you from behind a tower of loosely stacked texts, her eyes red and weary. Welcome, I don't believe we've met. The name's Crafty. She sees you eyeing the paperback chaos. Ah, yes, sorry for the mess. I've been real busy lately. Name's Rain, by the way. Your motivation behind this mess? Crafty leans forwards, strands of black and pink hair falling across her cheeks. Places a book on top of a pile before her. You could say that. All right, now, tell me, have you had the dreams? Sure have. You know something about them? She seems satisfied with your answer and lazily pushes a strand of her hair behind her ear. My mother was an avid researcher of the walled city. She kept extensive journals on her findings. A sweep of her hand gestures to the entire shop. These dreams we're having, they're commonplace in the walled city, but ever since they started leaking into Hoi, I felt something was wrong. Against my better judgment, I've started reading her notes to see what I can learn about the dreams. I always thought her theories about were just the ravings of a madwoman, but now... She leans back and places her hands behind her head for support, while the investigation is still underway, as you can see. Sounds like you and I are interested in the same thing. Her eyes searches your face. After a moment, she nods. Tell you what, if you can keep the investigation going your end, I'll share what I've found. Two minds are always better than one, especially when it comes to dealing with something as abstract as dreams. Let me see what you're selling. Consumables... Lots. Whoa, and lots. Nice. I like that. Yeah. Okay. So we've now got that. Fair enough. I'll let you get back to it. Okay, so let's head out of there. I would like to buy some just basic healing stuff. Let's talk to this guy again. Well, Matthew stands quietly in his drone lot, arms hanging limply at his side. He stares silently at the ground. This is the soft-spoken style of many Hong Kongers. He looks sad. He looks up briefly as you approach, but quickly looks back at the ground. Hello, Rain. He mumbles his words softly. What's going on? You don't seem yourself. Matthew mumbles something under his breath. After a moment, he looks up suddenly. Can you do me a favour, Rain? I can't leave the lot right now. What's the favour? I was supposed to pick up my medicine this morning, but I overslept. Can you get it from Ambrose for me? 10 armed Ambrose? Sure. Thanks. What the hell is 10 armed Ambrose? Apparently it's this guy. No, that's Captain Jumbo. Is 10 armed Ambrose in here? No. Where is 10 armed Ambrose? Is he in the is he in Club 88? That's Callum, that's Henry, that's Eos. There. You heard of a man named Raymond Black? I seem to recall a blurb on the news, but I didn't pay much attention. Not a name I know, and if it was a name worth knowing, I'd know it. Leave you be. Where is 10 armed Ambrose? Let's talk to him. The eldest son of the Kai family leads it less inebriated than before, though there's still a drink clenched in his massive hand. He's parting ways with an uncharacteristically awkward elf who palms something as she goes. Evening, can't fail for age service. We met once before. Have we? One of us didn't take much of an impression. I think I liked you better when you were plastered. Well, it's becoming a better man in your eyes. He takes a drink now. You're in the market for something. Got Bliss, Jonas, Cram, Nitro, and a dozen other little concoctions. The West doesn't even have names for you. What'll it be? Let's have a look. Really? Is that it? Let's talk to Henry. Troll Patriarch Club 88 gently polishes a collection of old wooden belaying pins. These are but a few of the nautical touches that struggle vainly to assert their theme against the club's otherwise glassy near-punk decor. Back again, not just another ship passing in the night, huh? I'm just a landlubber, I reckon you're not. You reckon rightly that I haven't been in water for far too long. Sounds like you miss it. Do I not strike you as the king of island nightlife? You can take the ocean man out of the ocean, but not the ocean out of the man. Ain't that the truth? How can I help you? Leave you be. Okay. Right, it doesn't seem like I know where any of these people are. Which is really annoying. 10 hours. I just wish I knew where half of these people lived. That's Well, let's do the last one of these. Anyway, let's call this an episode, and we will rejoin next time. So thank you ever so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe. If not, do not worry about it. Thank you again, and see you next time. Goodbye.